The Power of Three is the fourth episode of the seventh series of the British science fiction television programme Doctor Who that aired on BBC One and BBC One HD on September 22, 2012. It was written by Chris Chibnall and directed by Douglas Mackinnon. In the episode, Alien Time Traveller, the Doctor spends time on Earth with his travelling companions Amy Pond and her husband Rory while he awaits activity from millions of small cubes that appeared overnight. The Power of Three focused on Amy and Rory's point of view and the impact of the Doctor's influence on their lives, as they would be leaving in the next episode. The story was inspired by The Man Who Came to Dinner and the story of the MSC Napoli. The episode also saw the return of UNIT and introduced their new scientific advisor, Kate Stewart, daughter of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. The episode featured brief cameo appearances by Lord Sugar and Professor Brian Cox. Despite being the penultimate episode in the first block of the series, The Power of Three was the last to be filmed, and was thus the last episode for Gillan and Darvill. The episode was watched by 7.67 million viewers in the UK. Critical reception to the episode was generally positive, highlighting the emotion and humour, although many critics derided the solution to the plot. Amy and Rory have tried to adjust to normal life without travelling with the Doctor. One day billions of small black cubes appear around the globe, but they appear to be inert and invulnerable. The Doctor arrives to help, having been alerted by news stories. UNIT storms the Ponds house soon after in response to the Doctor's arrival. The UNIT force is led by scientific advisor Kate Stewart, the daughter of the Doctor's friend and former UNIT commander, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Kate explains that they have no idea of the purpose of the cubes and hope the Doctor can help. After several days of watching the cubes without anything out of the ordinary occurring, the Doctor decides there is no problem and puts Rory's father Brian in charge of watching the cubes as he returns and departs in the TARDIS. Over the following year, Amy and Rory live out their lives, making commitments despite not knowing if they will always be around. The Doctor visits them at their wedding anniversary party and takes them on a trip for 7 weeks, though returns them a few minutes after leaving. Brian notices their absence and, in private, asks the Doctor the fate of his previous companions. The Doctor admits that while most had left on their own or were left behind, some have died, but promises that will not happen to Amy or Rory. Humanity forgets about the cube's arrival, and use them as paperweights and similar mundane functions. Unknown to anyone at the hospital where Rory works, a young girl with a cube controls a pair of identical orderlies with distorted faces to capture a few selected patients. A year after their arrival, the cubes start to activate, scanning the world's information networks and acting in self-defense. The Doctor realizes that the cubes are part of a slow invasion. While Rory and Brian go to the hospital to help those injured by the cubes, the Doctor and Amy are summoned to the UNIT headquarters under the Tower of London where Kate shows them several cubes under investigation, every single one behaving in a different fashion. The cubes then simultaneously display the number 7 and slowly count down. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Brian is taken by the two orderlies to a lift, where they disappear. Rory soon follows and finds that the back of the lift is a portal to a spaceship in Earth's orbit. The cubes all open when they reach zero, appearing empty, but soon reports of people dying from cardiac arrest appear from around the globe. The Doctor finds that one of his own hearts has stopped, and realizes that the cubes sent out an electrical impulse that killed about 1/3 of the human population. Kate's team traces a communication from the cubes to 7 different outposts across the world, including one at Rory's hospital, and the Doctor and Amy race there. Amy uses a defibrillator to restart the Doctor's heart. They find the girl, who the Doctor realizes is an android, and disable her before locating the lift and the portal. Aboard the ship, Amy and Rory rescue Brian while the Doctor encounters a hologram of a member of the Chakri, who, according to Gallifreyan legend, was self-appointed pest controllers in the universe. The Chakri states that he and 6 other ships tied to the other outposts are there to wipe out humanity before it spreads across the galaxy, and prepares to launch a second wave of cubes to kill even more before disappearing. The Doctor uses the ship's computer to reverse the shock the cubes gave to the original victims, restoring them, and the three escape the ship before the feedback from the cubes causes it to explode. As the world recovers, the Doctor prepares to leave when Brian insists that Amy and Rory go with him, stating the adventures they have with him are a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He tells the Doctor to just bring them back safe. The three say goodbye to Brian and depart in the TARDIS. Continuity equals, the Doctor tells Brian that a few of his previous companions have died. This is a reference to Sarah Kingdom, Katarina, and Abdurrahman. At one point, the Doctor, Amy, and Rory relax and eat fish fingers and custard, a reference to the 11th hour. Amy and Rory's meal at the newly opened Savoy Hotel is ruined by a Zygon spaceship parked under the Savoy. The Zygons previously featured in the fourth Doctor serial Terror of the Zygons and would appear again in the 50th anniversary special The Day of the Doctor. The Tower of London has previously served as a unit base in the Christmas invasion, and was mentioned as such in the Sontaran stratagem. The Doctor also mentions having a metallic dog that could hover. This refers to K9, the robotic dog of the fourth Doctor. Production. The episode's title was originally reported as Cubed, but was later announced as The Power of Three. Chris Chibnall had previously written the Doctor Who episodes 42, The Hungry Earth/Cold Blood, and the second episode of the seventh series, Dinosaurs and a Spaceship. He was also a major contributor to the spin-off series Torchwood. The Power of Three is his second contribution to Doctor Who's seventh series, after Dinosaurs and a Spaceship. Chibnall described The Power of Three as a lovely big Earth invasion story, but different from the ones done before, as it focused on Amy and Rory's time with the Doctor and the impact of him on their lives. He stated it is told more from Amy and Rory's point of view than ever before, and is about celebrating them before they leave in the following episode. Chibnall's brief from showrunner Stephen Moffat was to live with the Doctor The Man Who Came to Dinner, Doctor Who style. Chibnall was also inspired by the story of the MSC Napoli. Smith put disgust in the Doctor's remark concerning Twitter in the episode, reflecting his real-life decision to stay off this social network. At Chibnall's request, The Power of Three sees the return of UNIT, which first appeared in The Invasion and became a regular feature during the Third Doctor era. The episode reveals that Kate Stewart is now running UNIT. She is the daughter of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and previously appeared in the Real Time Pictures direct-to-video films Downtime and Darmo's Rising played by Beverly Cressman. Following the death of actor Nicholas Courtney in early 2011, the Doctor learned of the Brigadier's death in the sixth series finale The Wedding of River Song. Matt Smith enjoyed working with Gemma Redgrave, describing her as graceful, funny and charming and an absolute delight. The read-through of The Power of Three took place at Roath Lock, Cardiff on April 27, 2012. It was filmed by itself in the series' third production block. Because of this schedule, it was the final episode Gillan and Darvill filmed as Amy and Rory. Their last scene filmed together was getting into the TARDIS with the Doctor after saying farewell to Brian. When the doors closed, Gillan, Darvill, and Smith hugged and started crying. Some exterior scenes at Amy and Rory's house were reshot in June and July 2012, with Darvill briefly returning for the June reshoot. Producer Marcus Wilson stated that 100 individual cube props were made, with many more added with computer-generated imagery. Amy and the Doctor's conversation outside the Tower of London could not be filmed at the genuine location due to the London Olympics, so it was shot on studio in Cardiff and the live action was combined with other footage to create the illusion. The episode also features cameos from physicist Brian Cox and Lord Sugar, both of whom were longtime fans of the programme. Sugar's cameo was in fact filmed on the set of The Apprentice, with director Douglas Mackinnon standing in for the person who was fired. Broadcast and reception: The Power of Three was first broadcast in the United Kingdom on BBC One and BBC One HD on September 22, 2012. Overnight ratings showed that it was watched by an audience of 5.49 million live. The final consolidated rating rose to 7.67 million viewers, making it the 13th most watched programme of the week on British television, and the 5th highest rated on BBC One. The episode also received 1.3 million requests on BBC's online iPlayer, placing it fourth for the month on the site behind the first 3 episodes of the series. It also received an appreciation index of 87, considered excellent. Critical reception The Power of Three received generally positive reviews. Dan Martin of The Guardian stated he bloody loved the episode, calling it a nostalgic run through all the best bits of the Russell T Davies era. However, he noted that it also had the weaknesses of some of Davies' adventures. The ending was so underdeveloped that even a magic button couldn't explain it. But The Power of Three was, in every sense, completely gorgeous. Neil Adamnath, writing for The Independent, praised the way the episode showed the companions' life outside the TARDIS and celebrated Amy and Rory, as well as the introduction of Kate Stewart and her connection with the Brigadier. Radio Times reviewer Patrick Mulcairn described it as beautifully made television, and welcomed Kate as a wonderful addition. However, he stated that he did not entirely buy the Doctor's solution. Keith Phipps of the AV Club graded the episode as a B+. Despite noting the plot was fairly standard, and easily foiled, he wrote that the concept of the cubes and slow invasion was a cleverly executed bit of business. IGN's Matt Risley rated The Power of Three a score of 8 out of 10, writing that the first 3 quarters were simply brilliant, because of the emotion and humor. However, he criticized the rushed resolution, and the lack of explanation for the aliens at the hospital. Digital Spy reviewer Morgan Jeffrey gave the episode 4 out of 5 stars, describing it as an emotional, fun and involving Doctor Who episode despite the disappointing resolution. Russell Lewin of SFX gave the episode 3.5 out of 5 stars, naming it as Chibnall's best Doctor Who episode. While he noted that the ending was potentially always going to be a letdown. And it is, there was much to enjoy beforehand, such as unit and the humor. The Daily Telegraph reviewer Gavin Fuller gave it a score of 2.5 out of 5 stars, feeling that it was treading water as a lead into the following finale. He described the first 20 minutes as overpadded, and heavy on exposition but little else, and pointed out the unexplained action at Rory's hospital. However, he enjoyed Amy and the Doctor's conversation and the countdown element and the mystery of the cubes, but found the explanation unoriginal and the conclusion too easy. References. External links: The Power of Three on TARDIS Data Core, an external wiki, The Power of Three at the BBC Doctor Who homepage, The Power of Three at the Internet Movie Database.